morning, everybody. Welcome to Boulder County Courthouse. It's wonderful to see so many people here for today's celebration. We're here to celebrate equality. And what a day to celebrate equality in the United States of America. And it's also wonderful to see that the sun has decided to join our rainbows as well. I'm Commissioner Martha Lochamin, and I'm joined today by my fellow board member, Commissioner Ashley Stolzman. Commissioner Claire Levy sends her sincere apologies that she couldn't be here to celebrate with us. She's on a long-planned and well-deserved vacation. I'm going to share a few words before passing the mic to Commissioner Stolzman, followed by our Boulder County Clerk and Recorder, Molly Fitzpatrick, and Marty Moore from Rocky Mountain Equality. To set the scene, we are here this morning to celebrate the National Historic Landmark designation of the historic Boulder County Courthouse here on Pearl Street in beautiful downtown Boulder, Colorado. In December, the then Secretary of the Interior, Deb Haaland, announced the designation as a reflection of America's diverse history. This designation is the highest federal recognition of a property's historical significance. And we couldn't agree more that the courthouse, at the site of the first same-sex marriage in U.S. history 50 years ago, is deserving of recognition of landmark status. As we wrote in our letter to the National Park Service during the application process, Boulder County has a diverse LGBTQ+ community that includes peoples of many races, ethnicity, religions, and professions. And we consider this diversity an asset that enriches the lives of all our residents. LGBTQ+ history is our history. We'll hear a little bit more history in a moment, but I wanted to share that the Museum of Boulder's Bending the Arc exhibit explores this story and celebrates the tradition of activism in Boulder from the early 1970s to today. The commissioners are proud sponsors of the exhibit, which runs through September at the corner of Broadway and Pine Street. The museum is generously offering half-off admission today to anyone who mentions attending today's courthouse dedication. Thank you for that. In addition, after the speakers, we will unveil our new plaques that are behind me. And then everyone is invited to visit inside the courthouse lobby to see the official National Historic Landmark plaque. It is a small area, so please do be mindful to everyone's space and safety, as well as other residents who may be looking for services outside of just our celebration today. And I'd like to turn it over to Commissioner Ashley Stolzman.
Good morning, Boulder County. We are a community in pursuit of doing better. Better for the planet, better for one another. And in many ways, this collective pursuit of doing better each day is what makes us a community. And a critical part of that is participation. So you all get an A+ today for being here and participating. In the pursuit of doing better, it's not something that can be accomplished when we go home and stop being part of our community. It's something that we have to tirelessly work on and engage in. Today's landmark celebration is 50 years in the making. We have something to note, to mark, to celebrate, because of Clela Rorex's legacy of standing up for LGBTQ rights, and she will continue to inspire future generations and affirm the values of justice and human rights. Unfortunately, for all of us, Clela's leadership doesn't unilaterally grant gay rights to all of us forever, which is a big bummer. It means that we all have to keep working on it, following in her footsteps. Individually, one action at a time, we have to collect together, and she did her part. And that's something wonderful and worth celebrating, and that's why we're all here. But it should serve as a reminder to each and every one of us that we all have work to engage on. We all have to live up to the standards set by Clela. It's critically important for us to remember today And each time you see this courthouse, you can see it from a lot of places in Boulder. I want you to be inspired. I want you to be inspired to pursue improving our community. When I was thinking about today, I realized that I don't actually know that much about Clela and her legacy beyond the story of issuing marriage certificates to a same-sex couple. So I took to the Colorado Historic Newspaper website and I searched for articles. I was not let down. Clela was making headlines long before her famous LGBTQ advocacy. I was delighted to read in the Steamboat Pilot from May 5th, 1955, an account from Mary Ann Ducals about the Busy Bee 4-H Club. We met at the home of our leader. There were 12 members present. We planned to make our yearbook at the next meeting. We drew numbers and started cutting our dresses. Vicki Elkins and Clela Rorex brought refreshments. There were dozens of articles from when Clela was young to read about, so go read them for yourself. But some notable ones that I will highlight is in 1961. She was elected secretary of the National Honor Society. She was cast as the lead in the senior play, Our Town, and then the month later, she was given Outstanding Thespian of the Year. So, pretty amazing when you look at all of the information about her, and there were many more things that beyond what I could say. But as I continued to read articles that document the legacy of Clela Rorex, I came fully into the theme of my remarks today, which is that we each need to walk away from here today understanding that our pursuit of doing better, we have to stay engaged like Clela did. We have to work on things even when times get tough. Next in Clela's articles, I want to turn to the election coverage when she was running for clerk. A month before the election, there's a fantastic article. It was by Debbie Tassi, and it's titled, Clela Rorex is Seeking to End 26-Year Republican Dynasty, and it was written in the Colorado Daily. You will see the vision of the pursuit of improvement from Clela. She was running for office and set out the following vision for us all. Clela says in the article, the current administration has done everything it can to limit widespread participation in the county, according to Clela Rorex, Democrat candidate for county clerk and recorder. A good example, she said, is the hours the office is open. Since recorder's office, where you register to vote and obtain car and marriage licenses, is only open during regular business hours, it's often difficult for working people to use the office. If you take time at lunch to go there, you might as well take an extra hour, Rorex said, because there are usually long lines of people waiting. It's simply time for a change. She went on to say that practically everybody deals with the office sometimes, and it needs to be service-oriented. Later in the article, she goes on to say, presently state law prohibits establishment of mobile voter registration units. They require each branch of the office to be in the same place and connected by telephone. The county clerk is limited by these laws, Rorex said, but we should be active in lobbying for change. The Clerks Association would be a good, successful lobbying group, she suggested. Today, we enjoy the benefits of mobile voter registration. We know voter access and voter registration is critical to the lifeblood of democracy, so thank you to Clela and all our county clerks, including Molly behind me, who have worked on the pursuit over time and continue to work to promote and protect voter access. Back in the article when she's writing about her campaign and why we should all vote for her, I'm already sold, by the way, but why we should all vote for her, she said she'd like to see the state license plate system revived so it's more ecological. Instead of every person getting a new plate every year, she would like the state to issue one permanent plate and yearly renewal stickers. We all know that is now the standard, that we enjoy a more environmentally friendly system that we are using still today. And last, in her platform, she mentioned she would definitely follow affirmative action policies in hiring. The county's currently working on a plan for affirmative action, but is not legally bound to follow any particular policies. So that is what we got to read about in her campaign promises, and that's fantastic. That's absolutely someone we could all be inspired by and want to vote for. And in January, right after she was elected, there's a great article that was posted about Clela again, and it says, the Boulder County Clerk's Office has announced the red, white, and blue 1975 auto license tags are now available across the counter at the county courthouse. In past years, tags were not available across the counter until February 1st. So she was already rocking it in January, getting the work of the clerk's office done. These are all outstanding efforts to recognize in a county clerk and all warrant a celebration. But we are here today in Pride Month, and we know that the fight for LGBTQ equality carries on. In 1975, 50 years ago, we know Clela did her job, and she did it in a way that provided full representation to all people in Boulder County. Immediately, it drew attention. It was really difficult for me to choose which article from the historic archives to choose to talk about what happened next, what we're all here to celebrate today, because different reporters in Letters to the Editor took very different liberties with what language they used to describe what happened. I went with the Colorado Daily article by Dave Anderson. He wrote an article titled, "Skinner Wants Rorex Recalled, Marriage Licenses Issued to Gay Couple." It was March 28, 1975. Dave Anderson writes, "For the first time in Colorado history, a marriage license was issued to a couple of the same sex. On Wednesday afternoon, Boulder County Clerk Clela Rorex gave the document to two Colorado Springs men, Dave McCord and Dave Zamora, who are both 27 and have been living together for 4.5 years. Rorex characterized her action as strictly an administrative decision, though she had admitted it cost her lots of sleepless nights. She conferred with friends, legislators, and lawyers and asked the district attorney's office for a legal opinion." The author of the article went on to say, "The couple first tried to get a license in Colorado Springs, but were turned down. They claimed an employee of El Paso County Clerk's office said, 'We don't do that sort of thing here. Maybe you should go to Boulder.'" This has been a very volatile issue for Boulder, the article says. Last year, Tim Fuller was recalled from the city council after he and Mayor Penn Tate, whose recall was unsuccessful, sponsored an ordinance protecting homosexuals from employment discrimination. Much of the rest of the article goes on to represent Helma Skinner's ideas on why she wanted a recall of the clerk. Fast forwarding to today, we all know LGBTQ rights and people are still under attack. The story about Clela serves as an inspiration, and we must remind each other, every one of us, that all things in this community, we have to work on them to make them better. The pursuit of happiness, this liberty, this idea of justice, they take every single one of us engaging. And we can remember each time we see this landmark that the work is not always met with wonderful celebrations like this one, but it can be filled with complex and trying interactions. We know from today that there are still significant hurdles remaining. Positive progress, because of people like Clela, has come about. But I want to go back to her in 1975 for a moment. Because in the midst of all of these things happening, she continued to do her job as county clerk. In October, the Louisville Times reporter Cindy Murphy wrote, "Petition drive seeks 5-member county commissioner." Representatives of 2 local nonpartisan citizens groups interested in expanding the number of Boulder County commissioners from 3 to 5 held a press conference Monday afternoon in Louisville. Both Force 5 and 5, a subgroup of NOW, which is represented by Lita Durham and Clela Rorex, believe the present commissioners are serving a greatly expanded county population and are becoming more and more inaccessible. In addition, Force 5 spokesperson Hagg explained the power of the whole county can be thrown to 2 people. Under the present system, a single vote can change the entire direction of county government. According to a copy of the press statement, if the petition drive is successful, voters will be asked in an election along with the commission for an expansion with different options on how to elect them. I bring this conversation up because moving from 3 to 5 commissioners to improve democracy and representation is still a conversation in our community today. These articles about Clela should inspire us all to do things better, make the community better, and like Clela was doing in her advocacy and work, advancing democracy and equality. The historic Boulder County Courthouse deserves National Historic Landmark status because it holds a pivotal place in our history, in LGBTQ history. In 1975, County Clerk Clela Rorex issued the first same-sex marriage license in the U.S., challenging societal norms and advancing equality. This act of courage turned the courthouse into a national symbol of progress. Many people had to keep working on things after Clela did this. We all have to keep working to keep things getting better, and many people worked to get this status recognized. So first, I'd like to thank Erica Warzel and Amy Unger for their many hours of dedicated work. They were honored this year with the Archaeological and History Preservation Month award ceremony with the Local History and Preservation Honor Award for their tireless effort. I would also like to have everyone please give a big round of applause for Jennifer Churchill. Jennifer is a communications specialist at Boulder County. She has made tremendous efforts to keep this nomination on track through the process and all the way through the award of the landmark. She's coordinated testimony in front of committees, Congress people, all sorts of things, letters, supporters. She's worked on events, photographs, photos, and phone calls, and so much more that have made this landmark possible. We'd like to thank James Butler, County Architect, and Denise Grimm, Historic Preservation Principal Planner. They have also had a tireless effort to make sure that this landmark would be done properly and in time and effective. And I think some people forget how much our federal elected officials and their staff help us here at the local level. So we're fortunate and thankful to have a great collaborative team here in Colorado, and I would like to thank Senator Hickenlooper and Representative Neguse for their efforts in sending letters of support to the National Landmarks Board and helping us get this done. Particularly of note, it's important to thank Sally Bocella in Senator Hickenlooper's office for ensuring that we got all the coordination with the Landmarks Board. The Landmarks Board deserves thanks for unanimously approving the landmark. And Deb Holland, yes, thank you. And Deb Holland, the Secretary of Interior, deserves great thanks for understanding how important it was to get this landmark signed in December before January. So we'll thank her as well. And with any type of thanks, you're always leaving people out. There are so many people that help to make something happen and help to get it across the finish line. So I listed those out to enumerate some of the people that helped to make this happen, but it should inspire and stay on theme with that we all have to stay engaged to make things happen. And all of these people helped to make this landmark happen today. In these challenging and often unsettling times in the United States, this designation will serve as a beacon for those who feel unwelcomed or excluded from the vision of our nation's future. It can remind us that we're part of a community and that engagement is not a spectator sport. We must each participate and keep working on issues. Now more than ever, it's crucial to remind our residents and the nation that we are what we say we stand for: equality, inclusion, and the courage to lead with integrity. Honoring this site ensures the legacy will continue to inspire future generations and affirm values of justice and human rights. I would like to close with a quote from Clela herself. In a campaign ad from 1974 in November, Clela Rorex said, and this is a quote of Clela, "I have made one major commitment: to be an open, energetic, and resourceful county clerk. It is this kind of attitude that will allow the development of new concepts in administrating the standard functions of the office. It's this kind of attitude that will provide for full representation of all people in our county." Thank you. And I'll turn it over now to our fantastic county clerk, Molly.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I'm Molly Fitzpatrick. I'm the current Boulder County Clerk and Recorder, and this is my son, Finn. And I debated on whether to bring him this morning because I knew things like this would happen, but we got to get him started early, right? It's an absolute honor to stand with you all today, and on behalf of my office, as we celebrate this historic landmark recognition designation. Is an extraordinary recognition of courage, justice, and the enduring power of local leadership. In 1975, Clerk Clela Rorex did something unprecedented by issuing marriage licenses to same-sex couples because she believed in a very simple but a very profound truth. Who was she to deny this community this right? Clela showed us what it means to use the tools of government in service of equity and human dignity. Decades later, in 2014, Clerk Hillary Hall built on that legacy. And she is here. Against the backdrop of the 10th Circuit ruling, Hillary began issuing marriage licenses to same-sex couples. She stood firmly for equality, interpreting the ruling as a call to action and sparking both a lot of celebration and a critical legal conversation across the state. Like Clela, Hillary acted with courage, clarity, and a deep commitment to justice. These women didn't just hold the office, they made history. And they remind us that the clerk's office, and every office and department within Boulder County, is not just a place where people come to record their documents, or get new license plates, or even register to vote. It's a place where people come to be seen, to be affirmed, and to have their lives and their love recognized. At the Boulder County Clerk and Recorder's Office today, we are so proud to carry this legacy forward. We believe in public service that is rooted in fairness, in compassion, and inclusion, and in the ongoing responsibility to protect and expand access for everyone. To those still fighting for LGBTQ+ rights, know that you are seen, you are valued, and you are not alone. We walk in the footsteps of these amazing leaders and in our entire community who is fighting for justice, and we are still moving forward. Thank you all so much. I'll pass it off to our incredible Congressman Neguse.
Well, first and foremost, I hope you'll give it up for our wonderful county clerk. What a long legacy of service from Clela to Hillary Hall, who I know is here today and did a masterful job as our clerk, Profile and Courage herself, to now Molly Fitzpatrick. Let's give her another round of applause. And we couldn't be more grateful to our wonderful county commissioners, Commissioner Stoltzman, Commissioner Levy, and Commissioner Lochaman for their leadership, for having the foresight to be able to marshal forward this important renaming of the Boulder County Courthouse. I had an opportunity as I was driving up here to text Secretary Haaland, former Secretary Haaland back in New Mexico, and to just thank her on behalf of this wonderful community for her leadership in taking that step, as Ashley said, in December. It's the right time. It is fitting that we gather today for this particularly important moment, given what's happening in our country. What I will say is that here in Colorado, we still celebrate Pride Month. Here in Boulder, Colorado, we value every citizen. We know that we all have a sacred obligation to treat each other with that fundamental, basic human decency that we are all must be accorded. And as I think about Clela's legacy and this wonderful honor that we've bestowed, that the country, this community has bestowed upon her by renaming this courthouse in her honor, I could not be more proud of her legacy. There's a great quote from Harvey Milk. Marty Moore is, of course, familiar with this. She's heard me say it before, but it's worth repeating here, which is that hope will never be silent. And as I think about Clela's leadership, and Commissioner Stoltzman so eloquently described the choice that she faced, that moral decision as to whether or not to recognize the rights of her neighbors, her constituents, her fellow community members here in Boulder County. I would like to think that in that moment, she was effectuating, she was demonstrating that very same quote from Harvey Milk. The idea that hope is not silent, hope requires acts, it requires action, it requires us stepping forward and speaking up and standing up, which is precisely what she did, leveraging the office that she had to further progress here in this county, to advance fundamental human rights and human dignity of every member of our community. That, I believe, is what's required of us in this moment. And my hope is that every citizen who walks this wonderful street here in Boulder, Colorado, and comes upon this plaque and reads about Clela's story and the decision she made in her time may perhaps be inspired to do the same in our time. And I couldn't be more grateful to the local leaders for recognizing the benefits of that particular lesson for our community and for generations to follow. So again, thank you for giving me the opportunity to come by. Thank you to the county staff who worked so incredibly hard marshaling through this application to the National Landmarks Board and onwards. I believe, am I the last person standing between? No, of course. I have the impossible task of introducing someone who, of course, needs no introduction. And I imagine that today is a particularly poignant moment for her because she was so close to Clela, including at the end of her life. And I imagine she's thinking long and hard now about those moments. And Clela's looking down with great pride at the leadership that Marty Moore continues to demonstrate here in Boulder County on behalf of all of its citizens. Marty Moore, Director of Rocky Mountain Equality.
Good morning. What an honor to be introduced by Congressman Joe Neguse. I was afraid he was going to speak for 21 hours. We're so lucky to have him. I don't know if you watched the rules hearing, but Congressman Neguse did sit there for 21 hours. And I've only heard him be snarky once, and it was so cute. My name is Marty Moore. I'm the CEO of Rocky Mountain Equality. It's a big honor to be here today with this illustrious group behind me, and with all of you. And as I look around, I see Clela's friend and realtor. I see Clela's words with friends, buddies. I see all of us. We built quite a community around Clela, and we were lucky. When I came to out Boulder County then in 2013, shortly thereafter in 2014, Hillary Hall, who's with us and who I got to meet through all of it, started issuing marriage licenses. I didn't know Clela, so I had to send her an email, and I sent her an email, and it turned into a great friendship. Clela has stood here with our first cheap megaphone and rallied the troops for marriage. Anne is here, and others who were with Clela at the end of her life. And we all know the story, those of us who were there, of Clela being an ally to the very end. When she was literally in hospice care, she counseled, gave direction and resources to a parent with a trans kid. One of her other acts was she called me and said a trans person that we knew was homeless and they needed $100. Could I take care of that and she'd pay me back? Did she have flaws? Yeah. Did she follow her heart? Did she care about community? The answer is yes. The story is she didn't know any gays, but she went ahead and married them anyway. Because she followed the rule of law. And that's something that's lacking in this society right now, is people following the rule of law. We're lucky to have today our wonderful DA, Michael Doherty, along with Assistant DA, Christian Wood Gardner. And as I stand here today, I'm not afraid of getting arrested because I know they'd get me out. And Sue Anderson said she'd also pay to get me out. Because celebrating anything that's different these days is a scary proposition. Clela had unwavering commitment to justice, and it was rooted in her profound belief in human dignity and equal rights for all. When I heard the news, and I'm so glad Erica is here today, this building had state historical designation. It was given when Jared was the governor was first elected. He was the first event I think he went to as the governor of the state of Colorado. And that has moved on through all these processes. And Jennifer, thank you. I didn't know that you did so much shepherding. I'm really grateful. When I heard the news that we got the federal designation, I wanted to call Clela. And Joe, or Congressman Neguse, I'm not sure if she's smiling down, she'd say, "Oh, what's the fuss?" Which is what she always said when we went to celebrate her. I wanted to share the happiness and the pride that I felt about this. So I called friends instead. Her actions in 1975 are still rippling through the years. Her courage is a constant source of inspiration for me. I wear her ring on those scary days when I go out and I need to be in front of a crowd of people. I slip it on. And I feel like I get to carry a piece of her with me. Clela is a reminder that allies have always stood with us. If it wasn't for our allies, we wouldn't have anything that we have. Thank you, and thanks for coming today. No matter how loud the hate gets, and it's pretty loud right now, I know that we can count on our allies in Boulder County and in the state of Colorado. Thank you all. This designation as a National Historic Landmark secures Clela's legacy and the history of the LGBTQ movement for future generations. The notes are gone, and this is what I want to say. What I want to say is we don't know what our actions today, how they will ripple. And we need to think about that. What courage are we showing today that in 50 years, somebody's going to be standing up, celebrating, and saying, I wouldn't have had any of this if that one brave person wouldn't have risked it all. So when you think about your work, when you think about what you are doing in the world for goodness, know that it has ripples, and know that we are all connected. And our good work turns into generations of good work. Keep up the fight, and congratulations, Boulder County. Thank you all for being here. It is now my opportunity to hand the microphone back to my friend and Commissioner Marta Lochamin.
Thank you all for your remarks. Thank you to our speakers for being here and participating. I told Congressman Negus he was actually perfectly on time. Thanks for joining us today in Boulder, Colorado, in the United States of America. Before we unveil the plaques and invite everyone to have a look at the National Historic Landmark plaque in the lobby, we have someone here who has a question for a very special person in the crowd, and I'd like to invite Alex to come up to the microphone, please. Thank you to Alex and Addison for sharing your special moment with all of us. For those of you who missed it, maybe in the back, Alex asked Addison to be her wife, and Addison said yes. Felicidades a las dos. Congratulations to both of you. Thank you to everyone who's taken time to be here with us today. We promise you that Boulder County government will continue to fight for equality and justice. Thank you all. And we're going to, if you want to come up a little bit closer, we are going to unveil the plaques that are outside here on the outside of the building now. Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What a great day.
This is the first real work I've done. Wait.
So much. Excellent. Excellent stuff, guys. Thank you very much.